Padma from Program. Hey guys, this is me Padma from Programmings and welcome back to this series on C programming. In this video, we'll learn about if-else statement in C programming. We'll learn to create decision-making programs that perform one set of tasks under a certain condition and another set of tasks under different condition. So let's get started. In C programming, we use the if statement to create programs that can make decisions. Let's start by looking at the syntax of the if statement. The if statement starts with if keyword and is followed by the test condition inside the parenthesis. This test condition is a Boolean expression that results in either true or false. If the test condition is true, the body of if statement is executed, otherwise it is skipped from the execution. Now that you know the syntax of if statement, let's try a working example. Suppose there is an election going on and to cast the vote, your age must be 18 or more. If your age is 18 or more, we'll print you are eligible to vote. Let's see how we can implement this. Here I have a basic C program. Now I'll create a variable to store age. Int age. Now I'll ask the user to input their age. For that I'll use printf statement and print the message like enter your age. Then I'll use scanf statement to take the input. So %d, comma, &age. Then I'll use if condition to check if age is greater than or equals to 18. If this condition is true, I'll print you are eligible to vote. Now let me run this program. Here I'll provide 31 as the age and I'll press enter. As you can see, you are eligible to vote is printed. Here the value is 31, so our test condition is greater than or equals to 18 is true. That is why this print statement is executed. Now let me run this program again. This time instead of 31, I'll enter 15. This time nothing is printed on the screen. This is because the age is 15, so the test condition age is greater than or equals to 18 is false, so the body of the if statement is skipped. Our program is working fine, but it is not printing anything when the age is less than 18. We might want to print something like, sorry, you are not eligible to vote when age is less than 18. So I'll add another if statement. So I'll say, if age is less than 18, I'll print, sorry, you are not eligible to vote. Now I'll run this code and I'll enter 15 again. Here you can see, sorry, you are not eligible to vote is printed. This is because age is 15, so this condition age is greater than or equals to 18 is false. Therefore, this statement is skipped. However, this condition age is less than 18 is true, so this statement is executed. I have this code from the last segment. I'll remove this code to get the user input and I'll manually assign the value of age equals to 15 so that it's easier to focus on the logic of the if statement. In this program, I have used two if statements to perform two different tasks. We know that the person is eligible to vote only if the age is greater than or equals to 18, and if the condition is not met, we know that the person is not eligible to vote. In such cases, instead of writing the second if statement with the condition, we can use else clause. Let's first look at the syntax of the if statement with the else clause. On your screen, you can see how it looks. So what happens here is, if our test condition is true, statement inside the body of if statement is executed, and if it is false, statements inside the body of else are executed. Now getting back to our code to check if the person is eligible to vote or not. In this program, I'll use the else clause instead of this second if statement. So I'll remove this second if statement and replace it with else. Now let me read this code in plain English. Age is greater than or equals to 18, then print you are eligible to vote, else print sorry you are not eligible to vote. Now when I run this code, you can see sorry you are not eligible to vote is printed. This is because age is 15, which is not greater than or equals to 18. So we get the output, sorry you are not eligible to vote. Okay guys, we need your support to keep this type of content free for all users. YouTube really likes engagement on the video, so leave a comment below, press that like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get the engagement score high up so that more people can discover and enjoy these courses. The if statement with else clause allow us to make a choice from two different options. However, sometimes we need to make choice from more than two options. In those cases, we can use else if clause with test condition. Let's see the syntax first. The if statement checks the first condition inside the if statement. If it is true, the body of if is executed, and the statement 2 and the statement 3 are skipped. However, if the first test condition is false, the control of the program jumps to the second test condition. If this condition is true, the body of the else if statement is executed and other statements are skipped. If both the test condition 1 and the test condition 2 are false, then only the else body is executed. If necessary, we can add as many else if clauses as we want for our program to work, and among all those alternatives, only a single block of code is executed. Now we know how the else if clause works. Let's get back to our code to check whether a person can vote or not. Here the age variable stores the age of the person. Currently the age of oldest person is 120. So I want this program to consider age greater than 120 as invalid. Similarly, the age cannot be negative, so I also want to mark less than 0 as invalid. Now I want to include these two additional conditions in our program. For that I'll use else if clause. Now I'll modify this code. So if age is greater than 120, I'll print invalid age. Invalid age. And else if, so if age is less than 0, that is negative value, then we'll print is invalid age. I'll change this if to else if. So as you can see, I have included one if condition, two else if condition, and finally one else condition. Here I'll change the value from 15 to 130. Now I'll run this code. Here the age is greater than 120, so we get invalid age as our output. Now let's change the value of this age from 130 to -4, and let's run this again. This time we get invalid age again. So this is the condition of else if. Here age is less than 0, so the output we got is invalid age. Now we can add as many else if condition as we want. Here we can see these two conditions are performing the same task, printing the invalid age. In this case, we can combine both the condition together using logical operator. Here the age is invalid if it is either greater than 120 or less than 0. Or let me modify this code. So I'll cut this, I'll use logical OR and put here age less than 0. So I'll change this value from -4 to -1, and when I run this code, I get invalid age as output. Now, as long as the age is an integer number, our program works correctly, and the extra condition makes sure the age is neither greater than 120 or less than 0. And for any other value of age, the program runs as intended. If we provide the age equals to 50, so let's do that. I'll provide the value of age equals to 50. I'll run this. Now this person is eligible to vote. Before we end this video, one quick tip for you. If the body if-else block has only one statement like this, then we can omit the curly braces of the if block like this. As you can see, the syntax of the if statement is pretty simple. The harder part is the logic behind the test conditions. So, you will get better at creating test condition with practice. Also, be sure to check our video on the comparison and logical operators that are used to create the test condition. The link will be in the video description below. We have covered a lot in this video. It's time for you to practice what we have learned. Here is one programming challenge for you to solve. Can you create a program to check whether a number is positive, negative or 0? To create this program, create a variable named number and assign a double value to it based on the user input. Then using an if statement, check if the number variable is positive, negative or 0. If the number is positive, print the number is positive. If the number is negative, print the number is negative. And if the number is 0, print the number is 0. You will find all the answers to this question in our GitHub repository, and also if you want to revise the concept we learned today, you can find all programs in the repository. Since the video is already long, we are not covering the nested if-else statement. If you are interested, you can learn about them from our website programmis.com. I'll put the link in the video description. Now that we are at the end of this video, it's time for programming quiz. What is the output of following code? Comment your answer below and see you on the next video. Happy programming!